Hey everybody, what's up? I'm here to talk about why I will not and cannot vote for the Democrats this election in 2020. I took some notes, I've been doing a little bit of digging, and I'm just gonna tell you straight up with everything that I've been really feeling in my gut. You take it as you want to. Just know that you have your own mind, you have your own freedom, and you can say whatever you think and vote for whoever you want to vote. And this is my video, so this is what I think. First of all, growing up in a conservative household, it kind of surprised me when I started to look at the outside world and see that a lot of people who were so-called black, I'm just gonna be using the term black right now, okay? Because people know it, and I won't have time to get into what I think about that term. I saw a bunch of black people who were siding with the Democratic Party, and so I thought automatically that black people were supposed to be Democrats. But then I was confused because the Republican Party was known as like the people who were protecting religious freedom, and I know that a lot of black people, according to the Pew Research Center, the highest demographic for religiosity and spirituality. So, I was just like, oh, people who believe in God are the ones that are on the Republican side, but black people are supposed to be Democrats as well. So it was just a lot of confusion growing up, seeing politics happen. And me having a bachelor's of arts in political science, I actually disengaged for a very long time because it was too complicated. I didn't like the categories and the boxes of race and partisan. I did not like that. I do not like being boxed in, period. Sagittarius, we don't like that ish. So I was like, whatever, frick it. And then this election happened. 2020 happened. And, you can't run away from it. When you're in a pandemic, you can't run away from it when there's so many things happening, so much tension that is being publicized. And so this is what I'm doing. Literally a week before elections, I'm talking about this. I know, it's not too late. When I met Donald Trump in 2016 in person and he hugged me, I did not have a bad gut feeling at all. I wasn't fangirling over him either. I was just kind of neutral, but I was like, all right, like he gives good hugs. He seems kind. I've watched him respect and care for my parents, in a way that a child would like to see someone who people now think is racist, treat people you love. So that was very interesting for me. But moving forward, I saw that Joe Biden, Joseph, he's running, right? And I just did not feel good. I did not feel good about it in my stomach. I just didn't. I was like, ew, there's something off about this dude, but I don't know what it is. But I didn't go and search, I didn't search for bad things about him because that's not what I do when I first meet people. I like to see the good in them until proven otherwise. I see this ad that pops up for Joe Biden's campaign, and right off the bat, I was like, is this real? He had trap music. Playing in the background of his ad. Like, I'm a music producer, right? So I'm hearing this beat and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is unreal. And then on top of the beat, guess what? He had a black man voice it over. Voice the advertisement. So of course, if I'm running on my emotions and no logic and I want to see like who's the cool candidate to vote for, I'll be like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna vote for Biden, of course, duh. Like he just gets us. No, this ninja doesn't. He's using black people. This is my opinion. He uses black people to push his own self-interest, to push his own agenda, which I don't think has pure intent. That's just what I feel. And so I kept seeing these advertisements again and again, these different advertisements of him having Black people just there, and it doesn't seem authentic to me. It does not seem genuine to me at all. And that really bothers me. And the way that he wants to interview all these celebrities and talking with Cardi B and playing Despacito before a talk at a podium. Like, first of all, it's just inappropriate that you're playing that song, first of all. Second of all, you're not cool. Like, you want to be cool so bad with young people and with people of color just to get your vote going. But I know nothing about your policies. Why don't I know anything about you except for the racism that you have pushed with your past policies, recent policies, and things that you've said? And I just don't understand how people are being, like, they're not thinking for themselves, so they just are easily captured in this wave, this blue wave, without really looking into what is going on. So I want to talk about, first of all, the history of the Democratic Party and the Republican Party, because it's not separate from what is happening now. There's actually a lot of connections. So first of all, the Democratic Party was very heavily involved with the KKK, and as well as the enforcement of the Jim Crow laws. The Republican Party had a lot of abolitionists on their side, and people like Lincoln, he was fighting the Civil War against the Democrats. The Democrats wanted to keep Black people as slaves, and the Republican Party was not having it. The Republican Party also passed, they were doing their best to pass the 13th, the 14th, and the 15th Amendments, to help people vote, citizenship, things like that, free from slavery. And the Democratic Party had the nerve, the audacity, the gall to fight against those policies because they still want Black people to be slaves. That's just how it is. And it's horrible because people think that all Black people are supposed to be Democrats. So anyway, going with history, this was a huge problem. In Lincoln, he got assassinated by a Democrat. So you see the aggression that has carried on even until today. Martin Luther King Jr., who was a Republican, also got assassinated by a Democrat. And now who do you see being violent and looting and burning things, setting things on fire, destroying their own neighborhoods? I really don't understand. I don't understand, Dems. Like, why is our first response to destroy? Maybe it's how I was raised. I was raised when there's a situation that's at hand that I do not like, I use my brain to change that, to have positive outcomes, to build, right? But the fact that I've even seen in my personal life, there's somebody that lives down the street who has a Trump sign that says God and country, Trump 2020, right? That sign, I've watched that sign be vandalized multiple times with graffiti. It's been torn down. And now the people who had the sign up, they had to get lights and signs to say, don't vandalize our property. That's destruction of property. Who was doing that? Republican people or independent people doing that to property? No, you don't see that happening. So why does this motif of violence and vandalism and murder keep reoccurring with the Democratic Party? To me, that's just not the answer. See, later, Robert Byrd was a former KKK recruiter, and he got elected to Congress, right? Then you have Joe Biden, who later comes in Congress, and they become buddy-buddy. Not surprised. They become close, and this guy, Robert Byrd, becomes a mentor to Joe Biden, and Joe Biden and Byrd are tight because of the policies, and their ideologies are similar when it comes to Black America, when it comes to keeping them in chains, honestly. And then 10 years ago, not even kidding, this was recently, okay? Recently, 10 years ago, Byrd passes away, And who does his eulogy? Joe Biden. Joe Biden does the eulogy of this person who is just against Black people. And then you see Joe Biden, he starts to, use his political voice in the name of segregation. He, in the 1977 hearing for busing, he was saying that he wanted segregation because he didn't want his children to be up in the racial jungle. What if it was flipped? If Trump said this, if Trump said something about a racial jungle, now you know that everybody would be running towards that and putting it on the media. Nobody would stop talking about that, but Joe Biden says it and nobody knows anything about it. They just look the other way. Nope, oh, not my vice president. He didn't say that. No, he was with Obama. He not racist. No, this guy is. He is. And people don't want to admit it, but he is, if you look at his track record. And he reminds me of Lyndon B. Johnson. Lyndon B. Johnson, he was the president that really guided Black America to be on this Democratic plantation. And it's ridiculous because he was saying that I'm going to have these niggers vote for the next 200 years Democrat. Again, the Democrats and Joe Biden, they think they own Black people. They really do. They think we owe them our vote, and they think they own us. Watch this clip that Joe Biden, in his own words, said.
Till November, we got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. And you ain't black. And you ain't black. And you ain't black.
It was hurtful to hear you talk about the reputations of two United States senators who built their reputations and career on the segregation of race in this country.
That's offensive. So if I don't vote Democrat, if I don't vote for you, Joe Biden, then I lose my melanin. What the frick? No, I love my melanin. I really do. And if I were somewhere tropical right now, I would have a little bit more. I was saying, with Democrats thinking that they own us and that we owe them our vote, that Joe Biden can just do all these racially motivated things, the crime bill of 1994, continue to enslave Black people, incarcerate Black people, and then talk against them, criticize them, and want segregation, and be friends with the KKK member. His actions, his policies, his words all say that he's racist. And these things didn't happen that long ago. Then the woman he chose to be vice president, after he said that he was looking at many Black women to be vice president, because, you know, that's Joe Biden.
Black people saved your political life in the primary.
I guarantee you, there are multiple Black women being considered. Multiple.
Charlemagne had a...
He has to have a Black person that he uses to be in leadership positions, to get his status up. He had to be with Obama.
The first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright and clean and nice-looking guy. I mean, that's a storybook, man.
And they didn't do anything for us. And then he had to go and pick a Black woman as vice president because he's making history. He was with the first Black president, and now he's gonna have the first Black woman vice president. No, because she has dirt on her too. She prosecuted 1,900 cases, and it really hurt the Black community. It tore Black and brown families apart. So if Joe Biden and Kamala Harris both were terrible with the Black community before this presidential election, and now they're together? Why the heck should anybody vote for them? And white liberals, they think that they're doing justice by siding with the Democratic Party, which they think is supposed to be the Black party. They're not seeing any of this happen, and so they think they're still not racist, but they're not doing the history research either. And that's what sucks. By the way, Biden's tax plan is trash. Just look it up. On the other hand, however, I do want to address President Trump, his actions, his words, because nobody is perfect. And I'm not a fan of how he speaks all the time. I'm not a fan of his temperament. I don't think that he is politically correct at all. But you have to keep in mind, he was not a politician, right? He's a businessman, and he brought business to America. But anyway, I want to look at his actions. I really want to see, how racist is he? How racist are his policies? Let's look. So before Trump even was elected to president, he was always hanging around Black people, not for the press sake, but that he just got along with them, honestly. And he was mentioned in a lot of rap videos, a lot of rap music. People were saying, oh, he's the American dream. Like, you know, he worked hard and this, and that. You know, I liked him personally because he was like,
"You're fired. You're fired."
So now moving forward, I want to see how racist he is. Let's look. Pre-COVID, Trump brought in a lot of job opportunities in this country for all people. And by him treating all people with the job opportunities equally, it allowed the Black unemployment rate to be at its lowest point in history. Wow. Jobs. They help. They really do. Yep. And then on top of that, he started to bring in the implementation of school of choice, which, you know, to decide where they want to go to school instead of being trapped in a system that just says, oh, you live in this neighborhood because of redlining laws in 1934, which was racially driven as well. Oh, because you live in this neighborhood, you have to go to this school and don't have these resources and you don't have this kind of education, which then funnels into the school to prison pipeline. They don't get a chance, but President Trump knows that opportunity is found in jobs and education, and that's exactly what his actions are showing. Should we be mad at him? He also signed a bipartisan bill for HBCUs to receive $250 million a year permanently. Wow. In funding. And I go to an HBCU. I'm in Howard grad school right now, and funding is good. So we need that. Number 4, because I'm giving you 10 reasons right now. There's a video of Trump in Georgia at this Republican convention, and there was a huge Black crowd. They were just really showing their support for President Trump. And the first speaker spoke about how her sentence was cut short. On top of that, she was chained to a bed, incarcerated while giving birth. And because of her case, Trump said that is not okay. And now it's illegal to chain a woman to a bed while she's giving birth incarcerated.
In Georgia, chained to a bed at Pulaski State Prison, giving birth to my daughter for a nonviolent crime. And I came back and I fought this system to get the First Step Act passed, which was signed by President Donald J. Trump, December 18, 2018. If that wasn't enough for you, the 11,000 people that we have brought home thus far, our president, my president, also made it illegal because of my story to chain women to the bed during childbirth while incarcerated. February 18th of this year, the day before my birthday, President Donald J. Trump gave me a full, unconditional pardon. This is the president of a second chance. This is the president of opportunity.
Do you hear about that? No, we don't know anything that Trump does or what he's actually done because the media doesn't pick it up. They don't want you to know that he's doing these good things for Black America specifically, or should I say America in general, because they want to paint him as this horrible, horrible person. He's not perfect. No, I don't agree with everything that he says, but his actions show something else. What are Joe Biden's actions saying? that he's racist and he's using black people for his agenda and to be popular, but he has nothing to offer us that's actually going to help us. In regards to what President Trump is doing, he's also working really hard, and he has been for the past couple years, to end human trafficking. Children specifically, because they are being trafficked at a crazy rate. There's been so many kidnappings for a horrible agenda that I'm not going to get into. And who else is stepping up to the plate to stop this, right? On a presidential scale, whether we hear about it or not, he's doing something about it. And if you look at how Joe Biden interacts with young children, you would be sickened. You would absolutely be sickened by his pedophile-like interactions with children, and it's horrible. Donald Trump has also implemented the First Step Act that has to do with prison reform, because he knows that African Americans are being arrested and incarcerated at a disproportionate rate. So he actually is doing something about prison reform. Have you heard about that? Nope, but he wants people who have nonviolent offenses to re-enter society as law-abiding citizens. Sounds good to me. Trump also hosts a lot of Black leadership meetings in the White House to make sure that he knows how to back up policies that help our people, and he can create these zones of opportunities that he calls. So check that out. Number 8, he also wants police reform. I personally don't think that the answer is to defund the police and have them be gone. Like that, there's still other things that need to be done, but they do need to be reformed. Police brutality is not okay at all. And reformation is the way to do that. People need to be trained. People need to have strict programs that are set up in their communities to know this is how you treat people. And also as citizens, we should be able to safely abide by the law and feel comfortable doing that, period. And finally, I want to address, it's the Platinum Plan by Trump to help invest in the communities, the Black community, so we can be successful business owners. And the cool thing about it, of what I've seen Trump do, in what I've been looking at, because the media doesn't show this, but what I've been reading about, is that I see a pattern with him that he tends to go towards giving Black people, giving American people opportunities through jobs, through education, and through investments, right? And so what he's done in the Black community has been, like, in the 47 months that, past 47 months or whatever he's been president, has been surmountably more than what Joe Biden did as vice president, all the political offices he's held in 47 years. Like, it's kind of like a no-brainer at this point as to why I wouldn't vote for Biden. It doesn't make any sense to me at all. He has shown nothing. He hasn't proven himself to do anything for us. And with this $500 billion platinum plan, I think it is going to be something that will be good for our community, because we haven't had a president, even Obama, we haven't had a president come along and say, I believe in you, even though you don't know that. I'm going to invest in your community because you are not victims like the Democrats treat you and think that you are victims, but you're victors. And this is me proving that I believe that you are victorious by giving us these resources. Black people, we barely own any capital in this country at 13.5% of us representing the population in America. And we built this land, right? So it only makes sense that, people want reparations or whatever. Trump is giving them to us. It might not be in a way that you expected it to, and the media's not covering it, but those are basically reparations, jobs, education. Come on, investments, money into our community, somebody that actually believes in us. So whatever he's been saying about everything else, I'm looking at his policies. And as far as his words go, I haven't heard anything that has directly offended me as a Black person that he said against Black people, like, oh, Black people are this or that, like Biden has. But I know he's not perfect. So, hey, but at least he's doing something with the platform that he has. People like to say, well, Donald Trump built the cages to put the children in. No, those cages were built in when? 2014. Who was president during the 2014 year? Not Trump. Before this, Trump was a very successful business owner. He was rich, right? And then you see him be president and his net worth actually drops. He hasn't accepted one check, except for $1. He hasn't accepted checks for his personal gain, which he could have. He's not, why else would Trump be president? Like, why do you think that someone like Donald Trump would run for president and become president and run again at his expense? His reputation is going to trash, and then you have his net worth decreasing. What would be his personal motives to actually run for president if he didn't want to help and step in because the Obama administration left a huge mess? So with all that being said, people, you know, I really don't care what others are going to say or think about me, and how people just expect us to be Christian, or people expect us to be chicken eaters. They expect us to be Democrats. The Democrats don't own us. They don't own my mind. I'm a free thinker. And if anybody else out there believes that they can also have the freedom to choose what they want and when they want, I advise you to start looking and reading for yourself on these policies. Read up on these candidates, for real. For real. Go through the past and see what they've done in politics and what they're doing now. Because your vote does matter. My vote matters. And you know, liberals like to say, oh, Black lives matter, blah, blah, blah. Well, do Black Republican lives matter? Or people who are voting for Trump, do they matter or no? Because you only think that people matter when they align with your ideology, which is hypocritical and it's disgusting. The Black Americans that are watching this, hashtag BLEXIT, the Black exit from the Democratic Plantation. Go look up Candace Owens. She tells it like it is. And, you know, I need to be more involved in politics, and I will be. But anyway, Democrats, you don't own us. Trump, I am going to vote for you because you just seem like the better candidate. And that's that. I don't care. The end. Think for yourself. Bye.